I can hear fine in this chat. Can you not hear anything at all, Mike?
Hello, test. Perfect. Apologies about the delay there. Of course, it's been a fun time, of course, for everyone trying to get everything sorted. Hi, of course, this is the Screen to Speed Winter Cup Round 2 here at the legendary Laguna Seca Raceway. Of course, track built in 1957 near both Salinas and Monterey in California. Track 2.2.38 miles, 3.6 kilometers for those that don't know. And with probably one of the most significant elevation changes in terms of tracks, 180 feet, 55 meters, pardon me. Mostly that's laid out by the corkscrew. So, of course, tonight we're going to run 2 races. We're going to have a race 1 and a race 2. And from there, we're going to see what happens. I'm getting feedback. Hello? Okay, sorry, I'm getting a bunch of feedback at the moment, so apologies. So with that in mind, we'll get everything on at the moment. Apologies about the issues. So Bianca Constantinou leads the way after 2 incredible races, with Nina Hahn in P2 with 114 points. Of course, this does include round 2, which so far would be the qualifying results, and for the time attack, which points are added. There's a lot to explain there. Probably not the best time to do it, but you can learn a little bit more about it on the website, www.screenspeed.com, and that'll explain a little bit more there. Continuing from here, Sarah Dove, P3, with Tiffany Toledano in P4, Jackie P. Matthews in P5, Mariana Bale in P6, Garda Adams in P7 with 80 points, Brew De Silva in P8 with 84, Olivia Hayward with 78 in 9th, and Micah Plug in P10 with 78. From round. Of course, one important bit of information is that Steffi Bao, the head of Inner Esports, has been nominated for the iFolio Leader of the Year for the Gamer Awards. Of course, brought to you by Prize Picks, Skills Hot, and iFolio. If you want to make sure you vote for her, make sure you vote for Steffi Bao for all of the hard work and effort she's put into running Screen to Speed and Inner Esports. We'll now move into qualifying right now. And at this moment, we've currently got Sarah Dove leading the way with the fastest lap. We're about just over halfway through. Sarah Dove, Bianca Constantinou, Nina Hahn. The 3 that could challenge for the podium in round 1, leading the way so far. Keeping an eye on it at the moment, Mariana Bale, currently P4 at this moment. So right now, we're currently... Let's see if this works. Apologies about the delay there with some of the audio issues. We're trying to deal with this at the moment, but I believe this should be a lot better. So, as a starting point for this, we've got Nina Hahn, of course, setting the fastest lap of the race of the qualifying, with Bianca Constantinou starting second, Sarah Dove in P3, joining her Mariana Bale in P4, Garnet Adams in P5, Olivia Hayward in P6, Bru De Silva in P7, Tiffany Toledano in P8, Jackie Matthews in P9, Jana Schiffer from P10, Annalise Wright P11 with Callie Height in P12. In P13, it is Linda Noble with Mariah Light in P14, Manuela Garon in P15, with Eliza Seville in P16, Jenna Hahn in P17 with Victoria Mello in P17, P18. Waiting for the race to start up. And at this moment, of course, we're going to be sitting here just watching and wondering what is going to happen next in this race. And it is start. We are off, and it is, of course, starting off with Nina Hahn getting a really good launch there. Bianca Constantinou, though, managing to try and get up behind, closing the door on Sarah Dove. Mariana Bale is getting in there. They're currently side by side, but it does look like a good run here for Garnet Adams. Garnet Adams has to brake late here, going around the Andretti hairpin here at turn 2. So definitely a great start there for... definitely a good start there, of course, for Garnet Adams, but also just trying to stay out of trouble. And it looks like Garnet Adams going to maybe try and take another spot here. Sarah Dove, we're on board, of course, with Jackie Matthews in P9. Currently, at this moment, Jackie Matthews currently leading this pack. At this moment, it's kind of breaking off into two separate packs here, but being quite a wide circuit, I'd expect quite a lot of carnage going on around. Jana Schiffer in P13, currently sitting there, currently under pressure there from, I think that's Linda Noble, and it does look like that she's going to take the wide line, and it's an accident ahead, 2 cars involved. I think that's Callie Height, and I believe, is that Jackie Matthews? Can't tell at the moment, No, possibly Annalise Riot, possibly? A few cars involved in that, so not great there. Looks like Jana Schiffer running quite high at the corkscrew. We're currently on Manuela Giron's cars, slow car there, possibly a slowdown. I'm not sure who that was in that purple fronted car, but currently at this moment, Manuela Giron in P8 at the moment. This is the battle, of course, for the final step of the podium right now. Sarah Dove under pressure from what looks like Olivia Hayward and Bruda Silva. Yes, that's Olivia Hayward on the outside, heading into turn one, heading into Andretti, the Andretti corner, named, of course, after Mario Andretti, the legendary Formula One world champion. Of course, one-time Formula One world champion, as they come through turn three, pardon me. So under the Firestone Bridge right now here at Laguna Seca, it is currently Garnet Adams, Sarah Dove, Olivia Hayward forming this chain, while the top two, once again, showing incredible class, incredible skill to get to P1 and P2 at the moment. And they're battling away. That gap is around 3/10, but expect that one to blow up as more and more laps go on. We've currently got 18 minutes left of Heat 1. It's Nina Hahn, followed by Bianca Constantinou. Garnet Adams completing the top three. Bit of smoke there for Garnet Adams. Sarah Dove, though, is going to try and see what she can do here. Olivia Hayward, though, has a chance as they come through the corkscrew. So that's a good run there, of course, for Garnet Adams. Sarah Dove at the moment, still trying to find something. Can't quite find what she's looking for here, but still a pretty good run considering everything that's going on. Wondering and wanting to see what will end up happening. But it is very much all in Garnet Adams' spot right now, but is under pressure from Sarah Dove. Good run out of that corner. It's possible they're going to go side by side going into the next corner. And it is currently Sarah Dove who has the advantage going into Andretti corner. And right now it is Sarah Dove who's going to take the lead, but is going to have the outside line here. It looks like Olivia Hayward's going to try and get involved in this. Olivia Hayward essentially managed to get away there. That pressure there has relieved something on Sarah Dove, made the move there, completed the move, and having the inside line compromised there for Garnet when trying to defend against Olivia Hayward has compromised her quite a bit. Of course, this means that Sarah has managed to pull away ever so slightly, about 5/10 between the two of them in P3 and P4. Really has been a solid run so far. We're waiting to see how this is going right now. Good run from Garnet, though. Really positive run here, of course, in these Toyota GR86s. And we're just waiting to see what we get here. Sarah Dove at the moment just running at a pretty good pace. Currently just setting away, considering that really all of this has come behind the two leaders at the moment. So this kind of has formed a chain bit further back, so this is probably going to be the most exciting, but we won't count out the fact that Constantinou and Hahn are currently really close on each other at the moment, a bit further up the track. They would be heading into the Andretti corner about now, so we'll keep an eye on that battle as that goes around. It looks like Bianca Constantinou got a good run there, looking at the timing sheets, but right now the battle between these four is only separated by about 1.5 seconds. So a really good run here from the battle from the group of P3 to P6. Of course, as we know, Garnet Adams, incredible driver who has recently been representing Prismatic Motorsports. Of course, representing, one of the finalists in Screen to Speed, the Las Vegas event, making her name known. Along, obviously, with just running behind the United Sim Team car run by Sarah Dove. See the two leaders in the foreground there. Looks like we have got a bit of a blank track at the moment, of course, staring at this this view, of course, of the final corner. But right now we've got these gaps really forming at the moment, where we're starting to see just some of the track some of the cars start to spread out, and this is what you're going to get on tracks like this. Unlike Alton Park, where there's a lot of space, not a lot of space, and quite, quite sudden high-speed lengths of track going into very high-speed corners. In this situation, you're not really going to get this at Laguna Seca. Laguna Seca is a massive track. Really good stuff, and it looks like there's been an issue there. There's two issues that I'm going to mention. It looks like we've had an issue for Brew de Silva. Brew de Silva's gone out. From what I'm reading in the chat, it does look like that we've had that Brew de Silva's PC has had a problem. So massive loss there, and this takes this fight back. Did take this fight down to 3. That, of course, commentators cursed before that point. I won't pin that one on myself. Of course, an issue there for the number 72 of Olivia Hayward. Unfortunately, creating a spin. And it just means that this run right here, not super clear here, but it does bring down the battle between Garnet Adams and Sarah Dove, the top two in this fight for the final spot on the podium. It does genuinely look like Nina Hahn and Bianca Constantinou once again are going to be in contest for this race win and for both race wins. But Sarah Dove and Garnet Adams absolutely are doing what they can to try and eat into this. And if I'm Garnet right now, I'm going to accept the fact that, yes, I'm just over a second, but I want to stay as close to Sarah as possible. But I don't necessarily want to fight her. Sarah's got really good pace at the moment. She's keeping the car in between the lines. She's not creating any problems, and she's slowly eating in to Sarah. It's slowly eating into the cars in front. Not by much, but she is slowly making inroads. And this is going to mean a lot if Bianca and Nina decide to fight. If Nina and Bianca Constantinou decide to start fighting a bit further down the road, that is going to help Sarah Dove and Garnet Adams get back into this. You have to accept that sometimes you have to work together. Otherwise, you're probably not going to make get the results that you want. A win is still possible here for these two, but it is going to be a bit difficult with the pace of the cars in front. But I'm wondering if Nina Hahn and Bianca Constantinou are having the same questions, sitting there going, unless I get a perfectly opportune time or an opportune run, I'm not going to contest this position, because I don't want to back us into, of course, the battle for P3. We're keeping an eye out, of course, on some of the other cars in the background. A good run so far for Linda Noble at the moment. Of course, this is Mariana Bale at this moment in P7. That's the number 96 car. Following up, I believe, I think that might be Brew de Silva. Nope, that's not Brew de Silva, pardon me. It's a battle for position. It is. It's Linda Noble, pardon me. Too many dog box racing cars, of course, in the series so far. I think we've already had 3, of course. One of those is Brew de Silva. So certainly not a move, and that was a great move there through the corkscrew. There might be another one. There's collision. There's a collision between the number 2 and the number 08. That's Garon. That's Garon, and looks like, is that Jackie Matthews? No, that's Toledano. So, that was a massive mistake going into the corkscrew. We saw an incredible move through the corkscrew and a not so incredible move through the corkscrew. Massive knock there. Of course, Mariana Bale, though, brilliant move. We'll see if we can try and keep an eye on that. But Bianca Constantinou is just trying to reel in Nina Hahn. Nina is sitting there going, well, come for me. I don't care. I've got pace. You've got pace. We're just going to do whatever we can do. But right now, it does look like, slowly but surely, Bianca Constantinou is starting to try and apply the pressure. As we saw in the races last week, Bianca definitely had the upper hand when it comes to this scenario. She would slowly start to reel in Nina. Nina would be under pressure, would receive a lot of tense, close action from Bianca, as she would just run it as close as possible and hoping that Nina would split. But the thing is here is that Nina is a talented race driver. She's done this plenty of times before, and she's driven at incredible levels. So the fact that she knows how that motorsport works, she knows how racing works, and she's got the right mentality for this, should hopefully mean that the pressure won't be as severe. And I hope that she's learned, of course, from last week. Because she did have 1 or 2 moments there where she got very shaky, because now here's going to be the time. Heading up towards Andretti corner. So this is turn 1 as we're going through here, is Nina Hahn, of course, with Bianca Constantinou behind. The battle for the lead of this race. A really good run here for Nina Hahn. Bianca Constantinou still cannot make that inroad. Really has been a tight contest right now, but Bianca's going to try and use the infield. Ooh, mistake there from Bianca Constantinou. And that may have been the first blink there for Bianca Constantinou of the race, which is insane. You know, she's been running so close. Last week she drove to a fault. Absolutely top stuff. But that time she blinked first, and now she's been caught out. She's now 1.2 seconds behind. Of course, we're on board with Garon, and I believe this is Toledano. That looks like Toledano ahead. It is. So these two came together, of course, at the corkscrew. You can see that damage on the front of that of the car in front. So keep an eye on this battle here. This one could get very spicy. I hope it doesn't. And I hope it's a lot cleaner than that move, of course, at the corkscrew. But we will see as we go along. But yeah, Garon at the moment, Manuela Garon, someone that has predominantly run Gran Turismo 7, finally making the transition to, of course, to iRacing. So keep an eye on Manuela here, Brazilian driver, to see how she can develop. As we know, she's quite fast in Gran Turismo 7. But Toledano is trying to do whatever they can at the moment. Currently going down the corkscrew, a really high to low bend, one of the hardest corners to take, just because not only are you having to factor in the perfect line, you're also having to factor in the perfect the altitude as well. The sudden drop in altitude just changes the way you take that corner. Of course, it's Callie Height, of course, trying to come back. So we're waiting to see what Callie can do. Of course, Callie had an incident earlier on in the race, got caught up in an incident going underneath the bridge up towards the Rahal Strait, but does look like she's trying to keep it together, though. That was a bit of a slide there for the number 66. Keeping it together, but is going to be under pressure. She needs to keep it all square. Eliza Seville is currently behind. Jackie P. Matthews there in the background, running well. Jackie P. Matthews, of course, as we know, had an incredible run in race 2 last week at Alton Park. So keep an eye on Jackie, especially in the reverse grid. That could be someone to keep an eye out on. Of course, on the back of this, though, this is also inviting Toledano and Garon. So this is where it's going to get interesting. These 5 can stack up now. Callie needs to stay ahead. Oh, taking to the dirt there. It's going to get really, really, really messy. Callie's going to do whatever she can, though, heading into the corkscrew, of course. The corkscrew, in terms of other incredible events, you talk about the fact that one of the most incredible overtakes I've ever seen on 2 or 4 wheels happened there. Of course, one of the most notable was Valentino Rossi on Casey Stoner around that part of the track. Of course, incredible stuff there. I can't imagine doing it on 4, let alone 2 wheels. As they head down the final corner, heading up towards the start-finish straight, it is Callie Height leading this train, with Seville, Matthews, Toledano, Garon in the background. Of course, joining up further up is Annalise Riot and Jenna Hahn. It looks like there's been an overtake there. Annalise Riot taking the spot. Of course, heading into the Andretti corner, Andretti hairpin. Heading up towards turn 3, another set of wide turns, not only for Callie Height there, but of course for Eliza Seville in that orange and black car. Ooh, losing the rear end there. Callie Height trying to keep on board, just needs to keep it calm. There's no need here to take unnecessary off tracks. No need at all, otherwise you will get penalised. And suddenly, a race where you look promising in the points is going to go well out of the window. But this has invited Jackie P. Matthews. The losing some time earlier on and touching the gravel has been really tough for them. Oh, and Callie Heights lost the car, is now going to lose positions, multiple positions, because she's not going to have the drive going up the Rahal straight. And that is going to be massive. At the end of the day, like I said, she needs to get her head screwed on. Because in this situation, it's very easy to make a mistake. And she is trying to, though, recover. So fair play to Callie. Trying to recover, but is going to try and draft. Trying to try and make a move. Can she make a move? She's going to make a really clean move on Toledano. But Toledano still has something. She still has a run going into the next turn. Toledano's going to try and get the advantage. Callie Height touching the gravel there, going over the grass strip. And it looks like she maintains the position, which is, I would say, a good recovery, already good recovery in that last segment of that track. Already gaining space, already trying to catch up with the two in front. Of course, that is Eliza Seville and Jackie Matthews in P8 and P9. That gap is now going to keep coming down, but Callie needs to keep things together. And, oh, a mistake there. I can't see who that was. Was that Toledano? No, that wasn't Toledano. I think that was Garon in the background. Annalise Riot now in that Battenberg-coloured car. Currently heading up this small little gap here, not far behind with Jenna Hahn. She's managed to make a bit of a gap between her and Jenna. But we'll keep seeing what can happen here with some of the carnage ahead. And we're just on board now. We're heading towards Jackie Matthews here, P9. We're heading underneath the VP Fuels Bridge, heading on to, of course, the Rahal Straight. This, of course, named after Bobby Rahal, the Daytona 24 winner, Sebring 12 winner, and Indy 500 winner, of course, in 81, 87, and 86, respectively. Of course, heading into the corkscrew. Like I said, this has been named. This track has a plenty of names, corners named after champions. Of course, I mentioned a few of them, and another one here is, of course, the one they've just passed through, Turn 9, Rainey Curve. Of course, named after Wayne Rainey, the former three-time 500cc world champion. Of course, now with the equivalent class would be the top level of motor racing and motorcycle racing, MotoGP. So Jackie Matthews right now, P9, heading over the line, but is going to be under pressure here from Eliza Seville's going to be under pressure from Jackie Matthews here, sorry. Two of them are getting closer and closer and closer, heading into the Andretti hairpin. But Callie Height is trying to make something here. Tiffany Toledano is also here as well, so don't factor her out. This gap is going to be 4 times here, but don't also forget that Garon has a chance here. If any of these either collide, or there's a massive coming together, or just the fact they keep battling away at each other, this is going to invite Garon back in. So we'll keep an eye on that. But this is a bit of a field of its own at the moment, as of course first 14 seconds up the road is Linda Noble, who's managed to pull away. So you're starting to see the spread of those cars. Of course, check up front, Nina Hahn still leading the way from Bianca Constantino, and it looks like there's a battle here. Callie's going to try and make a move on the inside. That was a very risky move there, but it has paid off. It has compromised Jackie Matthews' line, is now going to end up behind Tiffany Toledano. Jackie Matthews is going to sit there and not make the most of it. This battle here, of course, Nina Hahn, that's lapped traffic in front. So this could potentially be a factor here as these cars continue to run. Nina Hahn, Bianca Constantino are going to start coming up on traffic for the last part of this race. Of course, this is the final lap, so we'll keep an eye on how this one goes. It is Nina Hahn leading the way at the moment. Bianca Constantino will keep an eye out on this. Of course, Sarah Dove not at this moment in this group. So it does look like the battle for P3 probably has fizzled out. And it does look like Sarah Dove is probably going to take this one in terms of P3. But don't take out the fact that Garnet Adams has a chance. And there's, of course, that's one of the lapped cars getting out of the way. Smart move there. Nowhere to go, don't want to interrupt these two, so you pull onto the dirt. Nina Hahn getting a fantastic run here, out heading into Rainy Curve. And it does look like Bianca has had really no answer. She had an opportunity a bit earlier on trying to apply the pressure, but she did blink first. And it is Nina Hahn who's probably going to lead this one away. 6/10 ahead as they head round the final corner, turn 11. And it looks like, and it will be, the German Nina Hahn, who will win here Heat 1 at Laguna Seca. Brilliant stuff. Bianca Constantinou will finish P2. Not really much drama between the two of them this time. Sarah Dove will finish P3 and form up the podium. A good run there for Garnet Adams. Faded away a bit further on in the race, but a really good run there, of course, for the Prismatic Motorsports driver. Olivia Hayward backing up in P5. Really strong stuff there. Good run for her, good points. Mariana Bale managing to hold on after that incredible move around the corkscrew and just solidifying a good points finish. Linda Noble, of course, joining back up and running a fantastic race there, of course, for that P7 position. This is, of course, the battle that we were looking at earlier, and it looks like Callie Height has managed to make the most of it, but it does look like Eliza Seville has lost out big time. I wonder what's happened there. Height, Jackie B. Matthews in P9, finishing the top 10, Tiffany Toledano with Eliza Seville not far behind. Vanelise Riot almost, I think that's catching up. I'm trying to see, I think that might have been one of the others. That's Annalise Riot crossing the line. Jenna Hahn finishing P13. Jana Schiffer in, of course, P14, finishing off there. A bit of a distance behind, but I would say the German has had a relatively decent run considering some of the carnage. So we'll, of course, we'll review the results now, and it is going to be a different thing here, a different result here compared to the last two races at Alton Park. It will be Nina Hahn who walks away with the points here. So it's Nina Hahn, of course, winning 5 tenths ahead of Bianca Constantinou. Sarah Dove in P3 and Garnet Adams in P4. Olivia Hayward P5, Mariana Bale P6, Linda Noble P7, Callie Height finishing that battle in P8. Jackie B. Matthews P9, Tiffany Toledano P10, Eliza Seville P11, Annalise Riot P12. Jenna Hahn in P13 and Jana Schiffer in P14, Manuela Garon in P15, Bruder Silva after that disconnect P16, Mariah Late in P17, Victoria Mello in P18. So the heat results were strong there. We'll look to try and get some of the interviews going shortly. Of course, we'll start off with the third place finisher, Sarah Dove. Sarah, can you hear me?
I can.
Well, Sarah, how did that race go and how did it feel, especially with that battle that you were having with Garnet to start off with?
It was a good battle. It kind of messed up my plan to sit on the back of Bianca and Nina and overtake them if they crash. But I shouldn't have let myself get overtaken. So it was a good battle though.
Well, no, it absolutely was. And I mean, once you managed to get past and you managed to stay out of trouble, you managed to ultimately keep yourself in check, keep yourself sorted, and keep everything to 1 point. And I mean, considering all of that and considering the everything that you did, you managed to pull out a good distance. What do you think, though, going into race 2, especially with the reverse grid? What do you think your keys are to try and having a better result there?
Be a little bit more aggressive. I think I'm always a bit too cautious, which is good for not crashing into people, but it often costs me time. So I think, in order to stay ahead, I'm gonna have to push a bit more, and hopefully it'll go well, and I won't get stuck in traffic like last week.
Well, we'll see, of course. Best of luck, of course, for round 2. We hope to speak to you again, and fingers crossed you have a bit more luck in round 2, in Heat 2.
Thank you.
We'll next move on, of course, to Bianca Constantinou, who finished in P2. Bianca, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
So, of course, you won both races that last week, but seems like this time didn't quite have it. Nina had the better half of you, but how do you feel that race went in your perspective?
I feel like I could just panicked a bit, especially like mid-race, and I started overdriving it, and everything just kind of added up, compound mistakes and everything, half spun it at some point. But Nina was just quicker today. I mean, props to her, especially with her injured wrist too. I'm just glad I could try and put up a fight, but we'll see what we can do in race 2.
Well, I think there's definitely all more chances. You definitely did, especially earlier on in that race. You definitely did apply the pressure, and you were doing so. And I mean, that did work for you last week. So definitely that's something you should definitely stick with. Just keep your head on. But
Yeah, pretty much.
But other than that, how do you feel potentially going to race 2 once again, starting towards the back of the grid with the reverse grid? How do you feel about that? What do you think is going to be your keys to success here?
Try not to let race 1 happen again. Try not to get into my head too bad, and just make sure we come out with the result we wanted.
Of course. Well, yeah. There's definitely more definitely faith from my perspective. Definitely faith from people watching that you have the ability to do that. Fingers crossed. I hope to be speaking to you at the end of the next race. Let's see.
Hopefully, we'll see. Thank you.
And of course, we'll switch over to the race winner, Nina Hahn. Nina, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
How did that feel? Finally, you got the better end of the stick there. After last week, you came just second best in both occasions, but this time, it's your victory. How do you feel?
Yeah, feels awesome. Like, this was almost a flawless race. I in the penultimate corner, I almost spun into turn 1, but apart from that, quali was great, race was great. Bianca didn't make it easy though, but held on to it, and I'm really proud of it.
Well, I mean, you did absolutely incredibly. You kept it together. You didn't let the pressure get to you, which was obviously something that I commented on. It was good to see the fact that pressure didn't get to you, and you kept your head throughout the entire thing. I guess for me, my next question is, now of course we got the chaos of Heat 2, the reverse grid. What's your kind of keys to your success here?
This will probably be a bit of a difficult one because it's not easy to overtake on this track. So we really have to to just see where I can overtake people into like corners and everything. It's not going to be easy. I hope for the best, but on this track, really no idea where I can like end up.
Of course. Well, listen, Nina. Hopefully, I'm listening to you, and we're talking again at the end of next race. Fingers crossed on that. But congrats on the Heat 1 win. Get yourself ready for Heat 2, and let's see what happens.
Thank you very much, and hopefully seeing you later.
All right. And with that, of course, will be the end of Heat 1. We'll be back really shortly, so make sure that you stick with us as we get ready to move to Heat 2 and, of course, the reverse grid race. We'll be back really shortly. Welcome back, everyone, of course, to race one. Apologies about the delay there, of course, trying to sort some technical issues during the break. But for us, of course, it is a bit of carnage at the moment as we hop in. It is Brew de Silva leading the way with Mariah Late in P2, Manuela Garon in P3, Annalise Wright P4. Of course, looking at the moment, we've got Mariana Bale in that, currently in some of the issues there. But that has helped Bianca Constantino and Nina Hahn quite notably. But it does mean that right now, of course, advantage is Bianca Constantinu's, but Nina's going to try and is going to want to make sure that she overtakes Bianca and continues to lead her. I'm keeping an eye on these two right here. Of course, that's the purple car of Bianca Constantinu behind. I believe that is Linda Noble. No, pardon me. That looks like. Oh, Nina Hahn making a good move there, managing to make it past Bianca Constantinu. That, of course, is Annalise Wright on the inside, trying to stay out of the way. They're going free ride outside the corkscrew, heading into the rainy curve. Right now, at this moment, we're just keeping an eye on this battle right here, because Nina Hahn is, of course, one of the favourites, one of the two favourites for this race. Do not count her out yet. She is absolutely going to run. As they head around for the end of the first lap, it is, of course, Brew de Silva leading Tiffany Toledano with Garon, Adams, Schiffer, Haywood, Matthews, Eliza Seville, Noble, Hahn, Constantinu, Dove, Bailey, Light, Hon, Riot, and Mello. Looks like Riot's had some problems. Mariah Late, both in the pits. Victoria Mello, of course, not completing, doesn't look like starting this race, so potentially an issue there. Nina Hahn, though, is trying to get around traffic. Of course, that is the outside. That's Linda Noble on the outside, but looks like Sarah Dove's going to try and get involved in this as well. Can't, and it looks like Bianca Constantinu is going to try and get past. She doesn't want to end up with issues with Hahn getting away, but it looks like Sarah Dove has utilised this perfectly. This is something we did not see last week, but this here is potentially a massive, massive move for Nina Hahn, because now she's put in a slight gap and she kept herself, given herself a little bit of a gap and a little bit of breathing room for Constantinu. Constantinu has to make up that gap again. Big, big, big moment there, of course. Keeping an eye, of course, on Nina Hahn at the moment. Going down the corkscrew at the moment, behind Eliza Seville. The number 21 car right now, the race winner in Heat 1. Is trying to make it 2 of 2. So far, if I'm in the position of either of these two, or even Sarah Dove that has disappeared into the background, it looks like Sarah Dove's had a problem. Something that I've not noticed until just then. She is incredibly slow. Looks like potentially a mistake, possibly around the corkscrew. Can't tell. Doesn't look like there's any damage on her car, so possibly a spin. At least one of the benefits here is the walls are a bit far away on this track. So that is a bit of a saving grace. Looks like at the moment Victoria has a PC problem. Okay, that's just being informed there for Victoria Mello. Unfortunately, not able to take part due to PC issues. Massive shame, of course, for Victoria Mello, but we hope to see her back for round 3. Now, of course, looking at everything that's going on at the moment, it's still Brew de Silva leading the way, and really strong performance there, of course, for Brew. Tiffany Toledano, though, is about 4 seconds back, so this here could be an interesting fold, an interesting crease to this race. While Nina Hahn and Constantinu and some of the other notable drivers are trying to make inroads, Jackie Matthews, another one to keep an eye on, Brew de Silva has managed to keep out of trouble, and massive kickback there, and it's great carnage. Jackie B. Matthews is trying to get involved now. There's a bump there right now with Jackie Matthews and I think that's Jana Schiffer, and they get turned. Jackie Matthews turns through the corkscrew. 3 cars going into the corkscrew do not mix, and it is Jackie Matthews. It is absolutely chaotic. We'll go onto a replay here. This is Jana Schiffer right now. Looking like we're on board with her. Just on the outside of the corkscrew. Matthews bumps from Schiffer. Schiffer tries to take the line, and I think that's very hard there. There's not very much that Jackie P. Matthews can do. The 87 kind of doesn't leave enough space there, and unfortunately becomes off the worst. But it does mean that Jackie P. Matthews is right now, it does mean that after all of that carnage, Bianca Constantinou is now ahead. That is, if you're Nina, that's not what you wanted to see, because you wanted to make sure that you kept the lead there. Now you're hoping to try and make this back up. It looks like Bianca's overtaking Garon, so we'll keep an eye on this. It looks like Jackie P. Matthews is trying to do whatever she can to try and make inroads. This, of course, is a driver that finished on the podium last race and has potentially a chance to do it again if she can stick with this group. But, of course, anything can happen, as we've already seen. Constantinou, though, does have the early advantage. Does have to catch up Toledano, Height, Adams, and Bru de Silva. Knowing the pace of some of these drivers ahead, this is not going to be an easy task. And Bianca Constantinou just needs to keep it in the white lines. Do not touch the dirt. The dirt will be your enemy here. There is no traction, and you're just going to fall away. But the 57 is doing what it needs to do. Just keeping it there. And looks like, is that Hahn having a problem? Hahn had a problem in the background there. A slide. Good recovery there. The number 8. And is now between Hahn is Jackie P. Matthews. Hahn is going to try and take the inside wall. He's going to try and get a good run here. He's now under pressure from Mariana Bale. So this is going to be potentially complicate this entire conversation a lot more. And it looks like she's going to maintain the inside. Bale is having to take a wide outside. But it looks like Nina Hahn is going to maintain. And a good line there, of course, from the German driver. Of course, Heat 1 winner. Hahn, of course, behind Jackie P. Matthews now. Jackie Matthews is trying to do something here. Now, this is an interesting scenario here. For the longer that Hahn cannot get past Matthews, it will mean that Constantinou starts to walk away with this. And that is where it gets really rough if you're looking for a Heat 2 win as well. She manages to make it past Matthews. He's now going to have to make up that gap. Needs to dispatch Garon quickly, because it does look like Constantinou is trying to do what she can to take Toledano, but Toledano is absolutely not making that an easy feat. She's trying to battle for one of the top 3 spots in P4. Keep an eye on this battle right here, and it looks like Bianca Constantinou's trying to take the inside around the rainy curve, and it looks like Bianca Constantinou's managed to make it stick. That's Callie Height in front. Keep an eye on her. She could potentially add another crease to this race as they head around the final corner. Of course, turn 11, heading into the main straight here around Laguna Seca. 8 minutes in. We are currently seeing Bru de Silva leading from an overtake at the very first corner. But Garnet Adams of Prismatic Motorsports is sitting behind in P2. Callie Height in P3 with Bianca Constantinou of Stepping Stone in P4. Wanting to add a third victory, heat race victory of the season right now, Constantinou, but Height is not going to make it easy. And the more that Callie Height the more that this battle fights on, the more likely that Hahn is going to get a chance to get back into this. And this is going to be something, the mounting of the curb there, of course, from Constantinou. Callie Height is going to try and do what she can to maintain P3. Going to go around turn 5, heading up towards the VP Fuels Bridge, heading onto the rail straight, and it's Constantinou currently a massive slide, tank slapper there, manages to pull out the way and allows Toledano through. I think potentially a slowdown, and this has done no favors. This is the blink that she didn't want to have. And now Nina Hahn is now back in this. She had an advantage. She's now fallen away. They now both have to make up the gap. If I'm sitting here and I'm Bianca Constantinou or I'm Nina Hahn, I would not worry about each other right now. I would worry about the fact you've got 10 minutes, you're halfway through the race. You need to work together here to catch Toledano and Height. Because if you want a chance of a race win, Toledano and Height need to be caught up. Toledano potentially is going to try and go for a fight here that could potentially speed up the rate that they catch up. Keep it close. Keep an eye on it. Toledano right now as they head through the Andretti curve. It's still Toledano in P4, but is currently about 5 tenths off. Keep an eye on this. We'll just keep an eye on some of the other things here, but the more that's happening here, all of the stuff from behind, ooh, a massive slide there from Constantini, that's not going to help her cause. But Brew de Silva right now and Garnet Adams are really making the most of this right now. That gap, that 4-second gap between De Silva, between Adams and Height is going to be massive, because this means that the drivers that have really made the series their own so far this season, are not going to be the ones that are going to try and get for it. Will the podium stay like this is a big question, and I tend to say I don't necessarily think so. And that's not a disparagement against any of the drivers involved here that are currently in the podium, but because of the amount of things that we've seen so far this race, it's more than possible, it's more than likely, I'd say odds are, if you're going to try and bet on this, I would say betting on this podium staying the same is probably a bit of an unlikely scenario. Brew de Silva and Garnet Adams definitely have the advantage, though. Those two are absolutely in the right positions to do what they need to do to get P1 and P2. Height is under pressure. Toledano is there. Constantino is not that far behind Toledano and is potentially going to try and go after Height. That small group is going to absolutely make a massive impact. Keep an eye on it. Constantino is trying to chase down the Iberian driver, Tiffany Toledano. Just waiting to see what Constantino can do. Very wide there from Constantino. Needs to try and keep it out of the dirt. One factor, of course, not only is the traction coming out the corner when you grab the dirt, but of course in iRacing it's the incident points. Incident points, slowdowns, things like that can absolutely cost your race, and that is exactly what happened earlier. Going around this corner right now, heading onto the Rahal Straight. But Toledano is going to try and make a move around the outside of the corkscrew, and a massive lunge move and a great move there from Toledano. And Kelly Height has taken that corner far too sharply. And I would say in this situation, she got the worst of it there. Toledano unfortunately gets caught up. Mariana Bale is now involved. Not ideal, to say the least. We'll maybe try and get a replay of that momentarily, but Toledano is allowing Bale through. Massive moment, and this is exactly what I said. I said this. Can the podium stay like that? The answer? No. Look at the on board, and I mean, yeah, there's not really much space that Toledano had to go, and I think in that situation there's not really much you can do. I think unfortunate, but we move on. This does mean, however, it has released Constantino and Hahn to try and close the gap. They have 6 minutes to try and close this gap towards the top 2. Right now, Garnet Adams could be a possibility. Brew de Silva right now, though, I don't think it will be possible, but as I said earlier, anything is possible in this series. Anything can happen. A mistake, an issue, technical problem. Brew de Silva, of course, had a technical problem earlier in Heat 1, so absolutely that can happen again. Nothing is out of the question here. Of course, we're on board with Jana Schiffer at the moment, the 81 German driver. We'll keep an eye on her at the moment. It's Linda Noble that she's trying to compete with for in a battle for P12. This is a very close battle here. And right now, a move there from Jana Schiffer. Tries to go for a dive, but a bit ambitious there for the 87. But does get the better exit. I think potentially a compromised exit there for Noble. As they cut back through the rainy curve, Schiffer trying to find something. Schiffer can't quite find what she's looking for, but Noble is trying to make sure that she can solidify. This is two completely different people here in terms of their driving performance. And this is a potentially, interesting fact that I've just been pinged about from race control, keeping an eye on that as it goes along. Constantinu and Hahn are only a few incident points away from a drive-through. Constantinu is only 1 point. She has to drive immaculately. She needs to keep it between the lines. Don't overdrive it, don't overpush it, just run it efficiently. Any form of penalty here will destroy this race for Constantinu and a potential podium. Hahn, though, is not that far behind in terms of incident points. 4 incident points away from a drive-through penalty. So this here, all of the carnage behind and all of the incidents happening previously are potentially going to be massive. They're going to create massive implications on this race. We'll keep an eye on this, but it really is a question mark. There is so much going on in this race when it comes to the dynamics of how this one will break out. But right now, advantage is De Silva and Adams. Bianca Constantinu can't push it flat out. Hahn is having to be careful as well. Garnet Adams has not produced or has not had that many issues, but she is trying to close up on Bru De Silva, so it does look like that Garnet is trying to make a late race run. 3 minutes left of this race. It is possible. Apparently, Callie Height is 2 away. We'll keep an eye on this. It looks like a replay here from an incident we've missed, and it looks like Seville losing the back of the car. Great evasive action from the car behind. Garnet Adams, I say that commentator's curse, goes very wide there. Massive complications there for Garnet, and will have compromised her in her chase for Bru De Silva. And this might be the situation that Bru De Silva's looking for. It is De Silva, and then we are on board with Garnet Adams at the moment, the 22. It does look like that issue earlier has compromised a potential win here for Garnet, but I will say P2 is a fantastic result here. She's had a really solid result in Heat 1, and she's going to go potentially for a good solid result in Heat 2. A podium here, and we might see 2 new podium finishers, which is, to be honest with you, really great stuff. Of course, last week we saw Heat 1, Bianca Constantinu, Nina Hahn, and Sarah Dove. Heat 2, Bianca Constantinu, Nina Hahn, 2 very consistent names. And of course, Jackie Matthews taking the 3rd spot. And right now, talking about Hahn and Constantinu, they're at it again. Keeping it together. Nina Hahn right now just trying to apply pressure. I think if you're in Nina Hahn's position, you've got a bit more to work with in terms of incident points. Constantinu does not. You have to keep it sensible. You have to keep it smart here. If you're in this drive, if you're in this seat, what do you do? Do you allow for Constantinu, keep her under pressure and allow for Constantinu to make a mistake? Or does Hahn, or do you just sit there and push a bit further? Sarah Dove right now, of course, the US team machine battling Callie Height at the moment. Callie Height 1 incident point away, so this could be a massively compromising part of this race as they head up towards the corkscrew. And it is the 777, of course, of Sarah Dove. Not had the quite the race that she was hoping for. She was really up towards the back of Constantinu and Hahn earlier, but an issue, and I think an issue that she experienced a bit earlier in the race compromised her, and now she's had to fight back. She's now going to be run. She's going to try and go for an outside move, going around the final corner. Can't make it happen. We are towards the end of this race. We are going to see potentially a new winner. It looks likely. Constantinu has not closed the gap enough. It's still massively depleted gap, but I think they are out of time. As long as Bru De Silva and Garnet Adams keep their heads on we could be seeing not only a new winner, but a new podium finisher on top of that. 2 potentially new names to the rostrum of successful drivers here in getting into the top 3. It's De Silva right now, though. Adams, Constantinou, Hahn, Bale, Height, Dove, Tiffany Toledano, Hayward, and Matthews making the top 10. Looks like Sarah Dove has passed Height. That there, of course, needed at this point. It definitely was a good run there for Callie Height. But of course, I think as the race has gone on, especially with the incident points, she just had to pull out and pull away a little bit to try and make sure she can make it to the end of the race without penalty. It's the right thing to do, I think, given the circumstances, but it does look like we are going to have it. It looks like maybe Nina Hahn might have a late move here, and Bianca Constantinou will keep an eye on it. It does look like, though, and it is going to be, as it stands, Bru de Silva, who's going to win an incredible race here. Constantinou is going to try and make a move on the line, and just doesn't. Constantinou holds on, but they were side by side. We'll have to see if there's a replay of that, because geez, that looked close when I saw that on the camera. But it does. We'll look, of course, at the other racers. We'll keep an eye out here. Nina Hahn trying to make a move here. We'll, of course, catch up with the rest of the results, but it's Nina Hahn right now. This is, of course, the replay of the final corners. Constantinou trying to hold on. Manages to stay out of trouble. Has to take the inside. But Hahn tries to get a good launch. Constantinou, though, says, I'm not going to allow you this space. I'm not going to allow you. And that is as much as it took. That was incredible. Absolutely amazing stuff there. But of course, as we said, it is really amazing stuff. We have a new winner. It is Bru de Silva, who finished ahead. We'll look at the Heat 1 results. We'll look at the feature results, Heat 2. Bru de Silva, of course, is your winner. First-time winner here in this series. First-time winner in screen-to-speed events as a whole. So congratulations, of course, to Brazilian driver. Garnet Adams, an incredible podium here in P2. Constantinou finishes on the second place part of the podium, getting the best of Nina Hahn. Mariana Bale in P4 or P5, with Sarah Dove recovering to P6. Toledano, after that earlier incident, finishes P7. Good run there. Olivia Hayward in P8. Jackie P. Matthews in P9. Linda Noble finishing up the top 10 in P10. Schiffer in P11. Eliza Seville in P12. Callie Height had a good run, but unfortunately late issues cost Callie Height there. She finished P13. Jenna Hahn P14. Maria Late in P15. Manuela Garon in P16 couldn't quite keep up after some of the early issues. Annalise Wright in P17, of course, not making the final run towards the end of the race. And Victoria Mello, unfortunately, unable to start due to technical problems. So we'll look to get some interviews in. We'll wait to see what we can get. See if Constantinou might want to join. But for now, we'll pull in the second place driver of... It looks like we'll pull in the second place driver of Garnet Adams. Garnet, can you hear me? I don't know if she can hear me.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Garnet. How does it feel? Second place.
That was so much fun. I was really hoping that I was going to be able to beat Bru. Congrats to Bru on the win. I kept looking down at my relative, and once I saw there was 5 minutes left, I was like, you know what? Let's focus up, and it didn't help me make any less mistakes.
Well, of course, I mean, in all honesty with you, you did incredibly. I mean, there were times there where you definitely were making inroads there on Bru. I guess, what do you think was your biggest contributor to your success here in Heat 2?
I've spent a lot of time practicing. I've definitely spent some time with some of my Prismatic Motorsports teammates, just learning, training, practicing, getting better. And you know what? Screen to speed too. Just all of the winter and the summer and the fall cups that we've done. I feel like I've grown so much as a racer since, way back in Vegas. I'm having so much fun.
Well, I mean, you did an absolutely fantastic job. Is there anyone you want to say thanks to?
Oh yeah, I want to say thanks Screen Speed, making this happen. In it, Steffi, Yvonne, Sophie, all those folks. You're wonderful. You're amazing. I'm feeling so good about it. I want to say thanks to you, Jess. I mean, doing the broadcast is hard. I think it's harder than driving the car, in my opinion. So thank you. Thanks to, all my Prismatic Motorsports teammates are helping me. I'm having so much fun.
Well, I'm glad that you had a great run. We hope to see you back next round. Congrats on, of course, the podium. And
Thank you. I'll go for a win next time.
yeah, fingers crossed.
All right.
And of course, we'll move on to Bianca Constantinou next. Bianca, can you hear me? Possibly. I think that Bianca did have some internet problems prior to this, which is why we couldn't interview her a little bit earlier.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, right. Can you hear me now?
Yep, sorry.
It's all good. That's all good. Well, considering how that race went, you got the advantage over Nina there. How did P3 feel?
I feel like this race took off like 10 years off my life. I've never had to deal with such bad traffic in my life before. I feel like every other lap I had to avoid a wreck or something. I'm surprised I even finished because I had like 19x at the end. 20x is a drive-through or something.
Yeah, I was getting updates during that race, and I kept seeing the number tick down.
Yeah.
3, 2, and I hear about 5 minutes left, about 1x, and I'm sitting there going, okay, now can Bianca hold on to this? I mean, how did that feel, especially when you were under pressure that entire time? How did it feel just trying to keep the car in the lines?
Well, kind of just switching to quality mindset, I guess. Set good laps without getting off track, but with a track where it's so easy to get these off tracks, it was fun, but it was just some not very good racing from some people, but it is what it is, With these reverse grids, there's always chaos, and I just got the short end of the stick today. But yeah, P3 I think still was okay for what we could achieve.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, your key rival is currently it was of course finished P4 just behind you, so you're going to get the points advantage off of that one. So it softens the blow ever so slightly of heat. Yeah. And you are still going to be leading the championship going into the next round. So I'd say that's still a win-win.
Yeah, still a win-win, but yeah. Sorry.
That's all good. Continue.
I was gonna say it is a win-win, but I hoped we could have gone away with the win because it is one of my favorite tracks. But we'll see.
No worries.
I'll make sure this sort of stuff doesn't happen again.
Well, we'll see. But anyway, before we go, do you want to say thanks to anyone?
Yeah, as usual, my mom for letting me race, and Stepping Stone Motorsports for being an absolutely amazing team as always. And obviously, you and everyone behind the scenes for the stream for making all this happen. It's a lot of the time it's a pleasure taking part in these sort of championships.
No.
This race too wasn't the best, but thank you.
No, I appreciate that. Well, listen, Bianca, thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck, and we hope to see you in round 3.
Yep, we'll do. Thank you.
And of course, we'll finish off with interviewing the race winner. Brew, can you hear me?
Hi, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Congrats, race winner. How does that feel?
It feels good. I think that's the second race I've won in a league, so I'm really happy with that.
Well, I mean, of course, it genuinely was really top stuff. I mean, how did it feel? Because obviously you made that move at the very beginning, and that must have felt really difficult knowing that potentially people can pull up.
Yes, that's something that's really difficult sometimes. You have the lead, you're in the best position possible at that moment, and then there's a pressure for you to not make a mistake, and that's sometimes when the mistake happens. So a lot of it was just me trying to keep pace, and at the same time not spin or anything because of the pressure, because I knew Garnet was catching me. Like, I knew if I went too slow, I would lose that position, even if the race is short. So it was kind of a mental battle to just keep calm and hit my marks, and not to think too hard about it.
No, of course. Well, I mean, with that all said, I mean, there's plenty to go through, but I guess my question would be, how much pressure is it compared to when you've got a car behind you and you're facing for the win, versus the fact that you've got a gap and you're trying not to make a mistake? Which is the most stressful for you?
I actually think it's more stressful when there's the car right behind you, for sure, because you start mirror driving and all that stuff. Start maybe reacting a little bit. There's more distractions. It's more stressful. On the other hand, having a gap means it's harder to keep the concentration because you're alone. So the mistakes that happen when I have a gap are different from the mistakes that would happen if there's a car attacking me from behind. So it's a different feeling. Both are hard to manage, but I think it's easier with a gap.
No, of course. Well, I mean, on top of that, I guess, as a race winner here, I guess, do you want to say is there anyone you want to say thanks to?
Yeah, I want to say thanks to everybody at Dogbox for, having the team, helped a lot with practice and stuff. And yeah.
Well, I mean, Brew, congrats, of course, on the win. We hope to see you, of course, in round 3, and fingers crossed you have some further success there.
Thanks.
And with that all said and done, of course, we want to say a massive thank you, of course, to everyone that's watched. The top 3, not including the time attack results at this moment, we're just looking at it at the moment. We think it's all being worked out as we speak. Right now, it is Bianca Constantinou leading the way on 234, 224 for Nina Hahn. So that gap, only 10 points between the two of them. And of course, Sarah Dove there in P3 with 199. With that all said and done, it's been an absolute pleasure to have all of you join us once again tonight. Of course, we want to say a huge thank you to the folks over at AK Sports, and specifically our race director for tonight, Mike, for all of the hard work behind the scenes, making sure the broadcast not only runs smoothly when we did get it, but of course, managing to get it back on track after some early issues. Of course, on top of that, I want to say a huge thank you to Sophia Romwin and Yvonne Hufelaar, who are, of course, the race control and organisers. I've been your host, Jamie Jessica Martin. Thank you very much to everyone watching tonight, and we hope to see you for round 3. Good night.